Folks, you are not going to believe this one, but it's true. More information has come out about Joe Biden being a foreign agent. And this time, even the phony fact checkers, PolitiFact, fact check and all them, they won't be able to save him by lying about what I'm about to share with you. Today, I heard while listening to the Dan Bongino show an audio phone call that should shock the living heck out of you because it shows Joe Biden as vice president after the 2016 election and before Donald Trump was inaugurated on the phone with then Ukraine President Poroshenko, threatening him to shut down a bank that was laundering money to the Biden crime family. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we are the antidote to the daily onslaught of radical woke Marxist propaganda. Okay, so I was listening to the Bongino show today, and he provided an audio piece that I never heard before. Now, I'm also going to play an audio file for you of Joe Biden talking to Poroshenko that I don't think Bongino ever played before. So stick around if you want to learn about the level of corruption that our current president is capable of. Now, I'm going to try to get through this video quickly, but I have to set it up so that you know who the players are. Okay, Joe Biden was vice president when this all happened. His son, Hunter Biden, was the guy that was used to make it seem like he got a very lucrative job at a Ukrainian natural gas company called Burisma Holdings. There was no job. That was just something on the books that the criminals do when they want to launder money. So they were laundering $82,000 a month to the Biden crime family, saying that they were paying Hunter $82,000 a month for a no-show job at Burisma Holdings. Now, Igor Kolomoisky is a Ukrainian oligarch who was known for hardball actions against competing companies, and he was also a former government official in Ukraine. Now, Kolomoisky had links to offshore companies that are a part of Burisma Holdings, so he has a stake in it, okay? He was also the owner of one of Ukraine's largest financial institutions, PrivatBank. Kolomoisky was known as a fixer. Now, we all know about Joe Biden stupidly admitting on stage at the Council of Foreign Relations that he threatened Ukraine President Poroshenko with withholding $1 billion in military aid that was already appropriated by Congress, an actual felony, if you will. A man by the name of Michael Carpenter was a foreign policy advisor to then Vice President Joe Biden. He was one of the guys on stage with Biden when he told the Council of Foreign Relations that he got Poroshenko to fire the prosecutor who was investigating Burisma Holdings and his son Hunter. Well, guess what? Michael Carpenter was also the managing director of the Penn Biden Center. Isn't that something? Remember, that's the think tank that the Communist Chinese Party punched tens of millions of dollars into. That was covering up all the craziness that went on in Ukraine with the millions and millions of dollars that the Biden crime family was getting through the sale of the influence of the office of the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden. And they had to get those classified documents out of there so that no one would find them. So the FBI was covering up for the Biden crime family once again. They found documents after they searched the Penn Biden Center, but it was a long time before they told anyone, leaving us to believe that it was Joe Biden's lawyers only who found classified documents there. It was a total cover-up for Joe Biden. And we now need to make it imperative to find out what was in those classified documents. But the Department of Justice recently said that they're not going to cooperate with the Republican majority in the House's investigations. So what was going on here is Joe Biden was selling the influence of his office as vice president to a Ukrainian oligarch who had problems with the Ukrainian government and others. In fact, he was in exile for a while. Igor Kolomoisky, the Ukrainian billionaire oligarch, who was known for his hardball actions against competing companies, according to the Daily Signal, is also a former government official in Ukraine and also used to be an owner of one of the nation's largest financial institutions, PrivatBank. Now, there were many facets of crimes going on with the Biden crime family, but this one is pretty much a certainty. In order to get the oligarch Kolomoisky out of trouble with some of his businesses, Joe Biden was the point man for corruption in Ukraine. He was appointed so by President Barack Obama. So money was funneled to the Biden crime family through Burisma Holdings, saying that they were paying Hunter Biden for a job that he never needed to show up for. And PrivatBank was involved in sending the money to the Biden crime family. This is no different than a couple of videos ago when we talked about how Hunter Biden had listed that he paid his father $49,910 a month for rent of the Biden home in Delaware. And Joe only listed like $18,000 and something on his taxes for that. Okay, so he lied on his taxes, Joe Biden. Okay, so the fact of the matter was, Hunter Biden said that he owned the house, and Joe Biden said that he owned the house. But if Hunter owned the house, why was he paying his father almost $50,000 a month? Well, he wasn't. That was another money laundering scheme. So they set it up. They signed a contract, the realty contract, and said, oh, he's going to pay $49,910 a month. That was money being funneled. That was dirty money, and they were laundering it through what seemed like a legal transaction, which is exactly what Burisma Holdings was all about. Okay, so what you're about to listen to is a phone call between Joe Biden and President Poroshenko. Poroshenko wasn't stupid. His people recorded this phone call. The phone call took place on November 16th, 2016. Donald Trump had already won the election, but he wasn't president yet. He wouldn't become president until January 20th of 2017. This means that at the time of the phone call, Joe Biden was definitely vice president of the United States. Now, in this phone call, Biden threatens Poroshenko to get his people to close down PrivatBank in order to hide the evidence against him, and he threatens him in multiple ways. He acts like, it would be pretty bad if you were to lose that IMF loan coming along, and he says that it was in his best interest for economic and physical security. It's unbelievable what he says. He sounds like a mafia boss shaking down an important figure, which is exactly what was going on here. Now, all credit to this video goes to Dan Bongino for sharing it today on his program. Okay, folks, so here is the video. Give it a listen. It's over a minute. It's so worth listening to. It's unbelievable what you're about to hear. Let's go.
Let me ask you one thing before I forget. PrivatBank. I understand the governor of the bank is tentative about setting a date certain for the transition to take place. And I'm being told secondhand that, I don't know if this is her position for sure, that she is unsure of a date until she gets an agreement from you. Here's what I told them. I told them to get back to her and set a date, and I would talk to you about the date. Because this is getting very, very close. What I don't want to have happen, I don't want Trump to get in the position where he thinks he's about to buy onto a policy where the financial system is going to collapse and he's going to be looked to pour more money into Ukraine. That's how he'll think about it before he gets sophisticated enough to know the detail. So anything you can do to push the PrivatBank to closure so that the IMF loan comes forward, I would respectfully suggest is critically important to your economic as well as physical security. I know it's difficult. I know Kolomoisky's a pain in the ass and a problem for everybody, but it really is critical.
Unbelievable, folks. Did you get all of that? Biden was basically saying, look, when Trump comes in, I don't want him to have to get involved in looking at the money that is in the Ukrainian government, because then he will find out about all the shit that we've been doing here. So close down PrivatBank. And then he says, if you get that done in 7 days, then the IMF loan will come through. In other words, we won't secure the IMF loan for you if you don't take care of this. It was a threat. And then he talked about economic and physical security. Are you kidding me? Now, this Ukrainian oligarch, Kolomoisky, he was also involved in what I believe was a sting operation. He had said that there were two men who worked for Giuliani who went to him and demanded that he set up a meeting between Zelensky and Rudy Giuliani, who was Trump's personal lawyer at the time. Okay. And so and then he came out later and told the Ukraine press, he said, I did not help him. Right. So what the point of that was, the Democrats wanted to say that Trump, in his phone call, threatened to withhold military aid if Zelensky didn't give over information that was damning to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Well, that never happened. We know that because we saw the transcripts. We heard the phone call. It was never said, but this is the point that they pushed out there. And they were going to say, you see, they tried to get Zelensky to meet with Giuliani to give the dirt over, and that's what he was talking about in the phone call. It was all a bunch of horse shit. I now believe that Donald Trump was set up in that phone call. Absolutely, I believe that. It's because the Democrats wanted to take him out because they were afraid that he was a smart guy. They knew it. He was smart with numbers, smart with business. They knew it. So they were afraid that Trump would get into the whole Ukraine thing and see all of the criminality that went on there, and he would nail them all. So they had to get rid of him. Okay, so here's another audio file that I haven't heard anywhere else. Okay, this was gold. This was Joe Biden and Poroshenko talking, and Poroshenko is explaining to Biden that even though they did an investigation on Viktor Shokin, the prosecutor that Biden told him to fire, he was investigating, remember, he was investigating Burisma Holdings, his son Hunter Biden, and PrivatBank for all the corruption and other things, okay, for all the corruption that the Biden crime family was into. And you're going to hear Shokin say that even though we did an investigation and saw that the prosecutor had no corruption in him, he did absolutely nothing wrong, I fired him. And Biden gives a simple answer. Wait for it.
Assuming that there is a new government and a new prosecutor general, I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion.
Now, so far, folks, that is what Joe said to the Council of Foreign Relations. He was prepared to do a commitment of a public signing.
Despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charges, don't have any information about he doing something wrong, I especially asked him, no, it was the day before yesterday, I especially asked him to resign.
Congratulations on installing the new prosecutor general. It's going to be critical for him to work quickly to repair the damage Shokin did. And
what a bastard. Repair the damage that Shokin did. Yet Joe Biden never provided what that damage was. And Poroshenko just told him that despite the fact that they found no corruption, that he did absolutely nothing wrong, he asked for his resignation. And he said yes. Folks, everything that went on with Trump in that impeachment was to cover up the wrongdoing of the Democrats, specifically Joe Biden, the vice president of the United States. It's unbelievable what they think and they did get away with it up until now when the evidence is actually coming out and being spoken about. And that's probably because D.C., permanent Washington, is done with them. He's too much of an idiot, a bumbling fool. They can't take him anymore. Okay, so that's it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for spending time with us. We'll see you in the next one.